Hey everyone, welcome to my new revamped show, which is it's funny because I'm like all ready to be like, yeah, it's all revamped with a new format. Look, there's a moving image in the background, so you're not just looking at still images, but you're still gonna look at still images. Because we didn't get that far ahead. Also, it's almost funny because this is also kind of a temporary format because I just didn't want to keep using the original Velvet Room format. I wanted to switch over to something a little different. So we're gonna have some fun today and kind of just try something a little new. We're gonna have some if we have some technical difficulties and stuff. It happens, fam. Fam is a word I didn't think I'd say today, but it is. And,
but there you go, saying it.
Yeah, so we have a fun episode. Unfortunately, Ren couldn't make it. Ren has the flu. Sorry to hear that. Wish him luck by leaving comments and stuff, I guess. I don't know. Ren reads this. I'm sure Ren's like watching this episode, hopefully, as I say that.
If Ren's not like dying in bed, sicker than a dog, yeah, maybe.
So welcome to Mitch's Mega Minute. It's the new version of this. It's gonna be kind of it's a test. We're gonna be testing some stuff out. So that way every week we can try to improve the show and make it a little better. But first, before we go any further, if you guys didn't hear about it last week, because last week we had the little tribute episode, we have a coffee account. That's right, everyone. Now you too can buy me Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I mean coffee. And it's right now our current... So what we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about what happened on Friday and how that actually super worked for us. But right now our goal is simply to get the next game. As you guys know, running a Let's Play channel is fun, but it's also a little taxing. So it's kind of hard to keep up with some of the games that come out and stuff, especially these last 3 months, because holy shit. There was a whole new Legend of Zelda game that came out. There's Catherine. There was Astral Chain. There's like so much stuff that came out. We're going to talk a little bit about that a little later.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I forgot to grab an image for that, but I will totally grab one after that. So if you guys want to, you guys can send $3, and that'll help us kind of like slowly chip away at some of our goals. But let's go ahead and get into the channel news real quick, and then kind of talk about what happened on Friday and stuff. So, as you guys know, Friday you guys didn't receive any videos, and it's mainly because, one, I have a job in which I didn't look like I ended up messing up something on the upload, so it didn't end up publishing until like later. And Nate ran out of episodes of Danganronpa to upload, so instead I kind of streamed Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links for like 2 hours, and I had a fucking blast. I also blew out the mic like a few times because I was yelling, because one of the guys it was just so dumb. Like he just didn't he was just so bad. He was just such a weird
He was just so bad.
Okay. If your monster
the weed.
Because if your monster says, "Hey, you take any battle, or your opponent takes any battle damage that this card would have been dealt," right?
Yeah.
And you equip a card that essentially makes it immortal.
Right.
What the fuck? Like you just and Joe made a good point. Joe was like, "Hey, what probably happened was this guy was just fucking with you." And I thought that too. For a second there in the middle of the duel, I'm like, is this guy just fucking with me? But then he went to attack Ojama Blue, and yes. I realized in that moment that, oh my god, you don't know what your card does. Or, oh my god, what was the point?
Oh my god, you have no idea what the fuck you're doing.
Well, I just didn't understand. Like, he could have rammed into Ojama King, like, so many different times in so many different ways, and, like, would have won the game. Like, in my Ojama deck, I don't have Spell and Trap. I don't have things that deal with spells and traps, which is on me, really. I don't have a lot of cards that deal with spells and traps. Which is just, in Duel Links, there's only, like, maybe, like, a couple, and some of them are included in the structure packs, which I intend to grab a couple here and there. But Anyways, the point is that I had a shit ton of fun playing with you guys on Friday. I bought a couple of whoever donated the vampire cards. Thank you so much. That was really fun, and I haven't been able to build anything substantially, but I have been running some test versions of it. So like, I think zombies are such a fun archetype. Like same with plants, where they're archetypes in which like.
I love some of the comments of just ew ojamas.
Okay, but that's the thing. Like, okay, so ojamas are tricky troll cards. Like even they're tokens that they can spawn in like outside of Duel Links. Like those tokens essentially, if you destroy one, the opponent takes like 300 damage. They're purposely troll cards. But like plant monsters and zombie monsters are some of the more unique ones in which like they have more type synergy than like archetypal synergy. So like yes, vampires have zombies have vampires, and plants have like naturia and stuff like that. But like there's something so unique about how they are built in comparison to some of the other archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like not every zombie, like they have Vendread and they have some other ideas going on, but for the most part there's tons of zombie support that just says, hey, target this other zombie and you can do this, this, and this. And so that's something I always thought was really unique and fun about zombie cards. And I could go on about Yu-Gi-Oh! And I will go on about Yu-Gi-Oh! Much later on in the show. But I just wanted to say to anyone who came to that stream, thank you so much. It was such a fun time, and I want to do it again. I think that could be a really fun thing to do.
Oh, hell yeah, do it again. It worked out pretty well.
Yeah, but like I also don't want to like play the same cards over and over again. I don't want to kind of bore people with my metaphysical deck. Like my
well, maybe you should have listened to me while I was in the chat at work, just going like play Seto. God damn it.
Seto, you want me to use that? But that's a makeshift Blue Eyes deck. That's not going to work in like ranked. It's not going to work in competitive.
Oh
like,
my god.
I need. Okay, if I'm going to do that, I want to at least get some of the structure packs for Blue Eyes to get more Blue Eyes support. I have 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. I have like a bunch of. I have like Burst of Lightning and stuff like that. I just would feel more comfortable going into it if I had like more I don't know if I just had more like Blue Eyes cards, which I can get through the structure packs, and I intend to I intend to get some more structure packs to help me get like kind of pad my library down. And it's a very weird feeling because one of my biggest fears with mobile games is just this idea that at any point the game will go down and all the money I would have thrown and all the stuff I would have, put into it, kind of like fades away. And that's my biggest fear with online games too. But then I started playing Ep43 and I started playing, Duel Links is one of those games that I feel comfortable with because 1, I see Duel Links lasting a very long time, and 2, I see Ep43 lasting a long time.
I mean, it already has. So
yeah, it's been 6 years. Yeah. But yeah, so anyways, guys, as far as channel news goes, I do want to try that again. I'm thinking about maybe trying it again, maybe like Friday or Saturday or something like that. Just like, I get home from work, I'll just come on here and like, it felt very relaxed. It was very fun. And I would love to just try dueling again. And this time, not with my fucking Colonel Sanders tags, because YouTube doesn't like to give you full access to your tags half the time. Fuck. And like I didn't pay attention to it, and so like I would love to play some more Duel Links. I think my only problem is that if I'm being honest, I just don't have that many ultra rares of like spells and traps that like would be used in a regular competitive sense. So like I think this unfortunately for me, this Monday the competitive season ends. So my rank will be
shit, really?
Yes, I am going to be a platinum rank 5 this season, which is way better than my last, because I think one time I just ended it like in silver or something like that. I just wasn't playing. But now that I'm more active playing, I want to try and I'm going to try to climb up and go through it and play all the cards. But that being said, this is supposed to be channel stuff and not Yu-Gi-Oh stuff.
Okay, I was worried because last time I had seen your rank, you were gold.
Oh no, I I no, I actually went to platinum. When I was playing on Friday, I was platinum. But anyways, let's save that for the Yu-Gi-Oh talk. Anyways, the big piece of channel news for you guys is the fact that starting this October 1st, we're going to try for the first time in all of my Let's Play and YouTube life, we're going to do a Halloween month. And so we have some Halloween games lined up. We have some, maybe not the spookiest and scariest, but we do have some games lined up for you guys. We have the return of Corpse Party sometime in the month. We are going to start things off this Tuesday with Catherine, Full Body, which I don't. I some people would say that's a little cheating. I don't think so, and I'm gonna go with my gut and say I don't think so. But we also have some other fun things planned. It's just trying to get everything organized for it, and kind of go from there. But anyways, that's the channel news this week. For the most part, we're going to try to keep going up. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make a... We have the 2,000 sub goal. I'm going to make the 18,000 sub goal. Or 18,000. 1,800 sub goal.
Okay.
I just got to figure out what I want to make that and what you guys want. So always let us know. Always actively let us know what the fuck you want and we'll do it. There's a good chance that a lot of the times if there's a game and they're like, wow, why wasn't Save Point City playing it? It's because we don't know. Recently, I think it was Oceano said that we should play the Goose game that came out.
Oh, yeah, the Goose.
So we might check that out. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and get into the show this week. As of last week, I went... So, like, the topic we were supposed to talk about last week...
Yeah, but I didn't make it in time because I'm a dumb bitch.
Well, what's funny is you didn't make it in time, and then also we decided at the last minute to do the tribute episode, and ironically, the person who I wanted here to talk about it isn't here, but I can't sit on it for too long or else everything becomes fuzzy, because that's how memory works. I went to a Ren Fair last weekend. Ohio has a big Ren Fair that I didn't even fucking know existed. And
until your wife
yeah,
who loves the fuck out of the Ren Fair.
Oh my god, it's very solid. So most Ren fairs can be are normally just like tents and I don't know, I guess the idea is that you just set up a fair in like a community ground center. This Ren Fair in Ohio is actually a built location. Like almost like a theme park where you have these shops and you have these stalls and you have everything just established there, and it was so much fucking fun. I cannot express enough. Like, I didn't think I was gonna have as much fun as I did, but then I realized that I am a history nerd and a fantasy nerd, and it was just a grand time. Tabby went as Zelda from Breath of the Wild, and like everyone was stopping her to like say how much they love the outfit and stuff. And yeah,
that's so nice.
Yeah, and then like I got drunk off my fucking ass.
Oh god, that sounds amazing,
dude. Okay, so let's talk about my favorite part, the alcohol.
Yeah.
No, so I've always wanted, ever since I saw Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, I've wanted to try Butterbeer. And
oh my god.
What?
It just sounds gross to me. I'm sorry. It literally sounds like someone melted butter and threw it into a thing of beer.
It's not butter, it's butterscotch.
Yeah, I figured that out much later on in life, but like when I was a kid, I just imagined chunks of butter in beer and it totally fucked it up for me. That makes sense. Because now every time I think about it, I'm just like, why?
Well, that's the thing. So, I'm not sure if I ever expressed this on the show, but my drink of choice, if you ever go drinking with me, my drink of choice is normally a Guinness. And that's all they served here, and I fucking loved it. I guess the fairgrounds are like kind of like this entire established place is reused earlier in the year. For Irish Fest. which makes sense, you know. And
Irish fest.
yeah,
Okay.
they do like this big like there's people walking around at Kilt even like during the Ren Fair. We went 2 days, and the thing about it is that like I guess Guinness is like an official sponsor of this place,
Oh shit.
and like I was just having a goddamn ball because like I cannot tell you how many places I go to and you can't get Guinness. Like you like it's like, oh well, we serve like Bud Light and like fucking Jaeger and stuff. Oh well, do you have Guinness? Oh no, that's not. I'm like, fuck, come on. I don't like in my mind. I'm like, I only go drinking every now and then. Like I only like have like I only go out to drink like every now and then. I try not to drink too much. Um,
Yeah.
and when I do, I want to be able to enjoy it to its like full potential. So they had something called Harper's there, which is like this premium version of,
Oh
and I was
my
like,
god.
oh, and like it was, and
Oh.
well, that's the thing. So what I didn't know is when they make their quote unquote butter beer, it's like a shot of butterscotch, a little bit of like I think a bit of cider, and then normally it's like Guinness Blonde, which is their lighter brand, and it
Okay.
was just oh. And that's the thing. I'm not like one of those people that's like, yeah, go party and you fucking all that shit. But I'm like, that's something I can enjoy. Like that, gets me a little buzzed. Gets it's an enjoyable drink. I like it. When I was younger, I could do like like fireballs and shots of vodka and tequila. But like nowadays, I'm like, nah, it's just, I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna ride it all for that it's worth, And
Yeah. Oddly enough, as I've gotten older, I just went harder. I started off with like Fireball, and then somewhere down the road, I went, you know what I like? Absinthe. I really like absinthe. I was like, God, because I went to a Dickens fair, which is kind of like a Ren fair, but, Charles Dickens time. I'm not even fucking kidding.
That's...
In California.
That is so weirdly specific.
I know. So here in California.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Okay, so first thing first. Grozen. A good starter alcohol, if you just want to go with something really, really light, just get a Smirnoff Ice. It doesn't matter which one you go for. They're basically alcoholic sodas.
Oh
They
yeah,
barely taste like alcohol.
Especially like some of the more like flavored, so like the soda flavored ones, like orange or grape or something like that. Grape's a bitch.
My favorite
Grape's
is
fucking
grape
solid.
sucks.
Oh,
No.
fuck you.
No, okay, to be fair, the worst one is their peach.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck they did. Grape is okay, but I don't like artificial grape so much.
Oh, well, if you don't like grape soda, then you wouldn't like grape, obviously.
Yeah, it's just artificial grapes. But my favorite is their raspberry or just their green apple.
I like their
love those.
I like their when it's around 4th of July, they release those special ones that are just like
yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Those ones that are essentially like Otter Pops melted down. Those
but that's all it is. It's an Otter Pop that's just melted down with a little bit of alcohol. But yeah, that's totally. Anyways, I'm sorry. Continue about Dickens.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So just finishing up the question really quick. Those are a great first like starter drinks. Mike's Hard also works. But if you're like, but I don't want to. I want like real alcohol. Just get like a fruity wine or maybe like a Fireball. It's a cinnamon whiskey. You can't go wrong. Anyway, back to the Dickens Fair, which just sounds so inappropriate.
Oh yeah, the Dickens Fair.
And the Dickens Fair. Essentially, they take this huge stadium and I mean like a literal stadium, and they put a roof on top and build several streets and alleyways all based off of fucking London. It's supposed to be London during Christmas time, during Charles Dickens' like Christmas story, and that's the entire point. And while you're there, you also meet all of the ghosts of Christmas, past, present, future, and death. You also get to meet fucking Scrooge. Fucking, and as an added bonus, they're like, who else should we add to the menagerie of people you can spy in London? Every once in a while, they'll like talk about the Queen. There's also Jack the Ripper and like an alley of whores. It's great. I love it. But in the Absinthe Bar, you can find an actor who is Edgar Allan Poe, and he's just getting drunk off his ass in the Absinthe Bar, which is amazing. He only goes to two areas, the Absinthe Bar and then the writing area, which makes sense. But the entire place... Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say, I've actually never had absinthe before.
So absinthe is a kind of greenish alcohol that a lot of people say has a licorice taste to it.
Okay.
When you're usually serving absinthe, the way I had it was they filtered it so it drips down and you have a sugar cube over a tray, and then from there it drips into a cup. So it's a really sweet licorice tasting alcohol that's ridiculously strong and banned in some states.
Why?
Because absinthe tends to be, like I said, ridiculously strong. And they kind of blamed it on a lot of immoral acts back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, absinthe used to be served in green skull bottles, and its symbol was the green fairy, the absinthe fairy. But anyway, it's great. They have these fucking platters, and you're like, one of each drink, please. And they'll hand you like fucking 8 different drinks of absinthe. And you just fucking sit there and get drunk. And you're allowed to take it and go down the streets and just shop and fucking play games, chase after ghosts, and fucking get quote unquote English food.
Yeah.
By which I mean like meat pies and stuff like that, which are great.
That sounds so fucking solid right now.
Oh, they're amazing, especially when you're 12 drinks of absinthe in and are currently sipping on a raspberry ale.
Oh my god. Well, fuck, dude. So, kind of to go back a little bit to the Ren Fair last week.
Yeah, go for it.
So the thing that I actually really enjoyed about it was the fact that like you had like a lot of people who it was fantasy weekend, which, as I found out from Tabby and a bunch of the people who go there regularly, fantasy weekend is literally any weekend because a lot of people will dress up just as whatever. You had a lot of like Vikings and pirates, and you had musketeers and all sorts of like just kind of fun fantasy stuff. And something that kind of occurred to me while I was here at the Ren Fair was, I'm like, oh fuck, this is just the transitional anime convention for me. Like, this is just, you know, because I haven't been to an anime convention in years now. It's not so. It's just I never have the money for it. All the conventions I want to go to, I just don't feel like going. And it's just I haven't had like a. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't had a good con experience, and you know, like It used to be every year I'd go to a con and have like an A+ one, right? There's always an A+ con, but then as you keep going and as you keep going back to some of the same old ones, it goes to B and then to C and then eventually D.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to go to one that had that. Like I don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that those cons like became all D's. What happened is that you'd have like a B, but I can't justify the money, the time, the effort that goes into all this for a B. And it just, I just haven't gone out of just, you know. And I'm also not gonna lie, I haven't been following anime as strongly as I used to. So like when I went to this, when I went to the Ren Fair, and I saw like, you know, as some of you guys know, I've been watching this. I caught up with the show Vikings, you know, a couple months back, you know, and I have like this strong kind of like sense of like, oh, you know, like I have a lean towards historical like fiction and stuff like that, and I've been doing a lot of D&D lately, and you know all this stuff, and it kind of like had me realize that like I think that like instead of spending all of my effort and time trying to find the next anime convention that I want to go to that will be, you know, balls to the wall the next one, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and, you know, save up my money, get a really, really historically accurate, solid Viking outfit, and just do this again next year. Because that's another fun thing about this thing. The Ren Fair isn't. It's like it's a weekend, but it's every weekend for like 2 months. It starts in August and it goes all the way till like the last week of October, and you just go every weekend if you want. I mean, obviously it's expensive. It costs like $30 a ticket, you know, each day, which it's comparable to an anime convention. But you can get like a season pass and stuff like that. You can go and just enjoy yourself and have this fun time. And, you know, walking around, having a couple drinks, you know, watching things like jousting, eating a stupid big turkey leg, and some of the best pulled pork in my entire fucking life. Like, holy shit.
Fuck yeah.
Holy shit. Amanda.
Yeah.
One. People who go to Renaissance fairs know how to make great sausages and pulled pork. And giant fucking turkey legs. I have never been into a meat food.
I fucking would hope so.
I have never been into such a strong meat coma in my fucking life than just eating a whole I felt bad. I was like, I know there's more meat on you, turkey leg, but I somehow have grown full. And it's just like, it was just like this weird feeling like, oh fuck. But like, that's the thing, you're walking around, you're burning off, you know, you're burning calories and shit like that. And, you know, you're walking around kind of little in a stupor. And, it felt weird not being in a costume. Like, don't get me wrong, everyone's, like, only like a few people are in costume. Like, I'd say like 30% of the people are in costume.
Yeah, but like, God, that's the thing, is that I really want to go. I fucking feel like I have to go in costume.
Oh, well, at this point, that's how I feel. Like, what is it? Tabby went in costumes both days. She went as Zelda, and then she had just a standard, like, fantasy kind of medieval outfit. Like, fantasy medieval. And, like, what I found is just, like, it was just, oh, God. So, on the first day, I went with my in-laws and, Tabby's, sister, and that was fun. But the second day, that's when I got a lot of my drinking done, and it's like just not like, and I make it sound like, you know, it's like, oh, I was a drunk mess, but it was more like just enjoying myself a little bit more.
Yeah.
And on the second day, we were supposed to meet Tabby's friends, and you know, they go every year, and it was just this funny realization of just like we walk up to this group of people. All the girlfriends are like dressed up in costumes and they're elaborate and they look great. And then there's me and the schlubsters who are just like, you know, I'm wearing like my plaid shirt and my jeans and stuff, and like I'm walking up to this guy and like he's just in a t-shirt and like khakis, and it's just like, there was this weird realization of, holy shit, I never want to, like, do this again. Like, I never want to not be in a costume for this. Like, at anime conventions, I felt comfortable not being in a cosplay. I cosplayed a couple times, and, like, I'm not gonna lie, I felt very insecure about, like, specifically my body type and, like, my skin tone and stuff like that. Because people called me out on it, and it sucked, and I hated the experience.
Oh, you know what? Fuck them.
I know fuck them, but at the end of the day, like, everyone can say fuck them, but the people who are like fuck them are the people who are like beautiful. You know, that's the part that always bugged me about.
I'll take the compliment, motherfucker, but it still stands.
No, fuck you. Because what happens is every time I'm like, oh, it's, you know, I didn't feel comfortable. You know, I didn't, you know, like, you know, someone actually called me out for being too dark to be Kaito, and that was a very weird feeling. And
what the fuck?
I mean, I'm already not like, I'm not like, you know, like, petite Japanese man. And I'm like, it sucked. But, like, at the end of the day, you know, like, I always felt really insecure about it, and so I stopped doing it. And it doesn't matter. Anyone who ever tells you, fuck them, you know, you do what you do you, I almost feel like they say that because my ugly ass will make you look better. Like, that's how I fucking feel. That's how I fucking
That's not the fucking point.
It feels that way. It fucking feels that way. So, like,
oh my god,
it's like
we're not keeping you there for a comparison.
Not you, but you should have seen some of the people. Like, you know, like, it just sucked, you know. And this is obviously coming from a place of insecurity and, you know, other shit, but, like, you know, the point is I went into this rent fair and I saw even the schlubbiest of schlubsters, like, you know, just, like, having a good time drinking in, like, these horrible Halloween costumes, of just, like, you know, that's the thing, they were wearing an outfit. And, like, they were having a good time. And, like, it didn't feel like anyone was really judging them. The fact that the hardest judgment anyone got, it felt like, was, like, ironically, the people who weren't dressed up. Like, it's not like an anime convention in which, like, there's this expectation of, at least for me, this is not a universal feeling. This is exclusively me. And I need to emphasize that 1,000 times before I get fucking comments that say, well, whatever. That's not the point. The point is that, like, my experience is unique to me. I'm a larger set man. I'm 6'2". And a lot of the characters, when I was younger, a lot of people wanted me to cosplay Chad from Bleach, and I heard that, and I couldn't help but think a little part of me was like, you want me to do it because I'm a darker skin tone, like,
you want me to do this because I'm brown. I see.
Well, no, and they would do that all the time without realizing it. They don't realize that that's what it is. Like, it's just something that, like, your mind is like, oh, you look like this character. Mitchell, you should be Ansem. You should be Xehanort. You should be Xemnas. And it's like, that's not what I want.
I pray to God that you're just like, oh yeah? Why? And they're like, because you have the curly hair for it.
Like,
fuck you.
like, it's one of those things where it's like, when I went to this Ren Fair and I saw, like, people of just, like, and I know this sounds really weird, but, like, just, like, you know, seeing people who are, like, maybe a little bit more like my body type, a little worse, or, like, you know, like, or just, you know, just dressed up and no one gave a shit. In fact, people loved the fact that they were just in costume. And that made me feel better. I'm like, that gave me a sense of, like, you know what? Like, I can do this. Because I'm not trying to be this idealized character on the screen. I'm trying to just be a Viking. I'm trying to be a pirate. I'm trying to be, you know, whatever. And I think that like, actually made me feel better. And, like, because that was something that kind of bothered me. I'm not going to lie. Back when I used to do the convention scene, was I just, you know... now, granted, the costumes, the first couple times I cosplayed wasn't the best. And then, like, the one time I put all my effort forward... And I actually tried, and I did everything I could. It was fun, but, like, you had those comments, you had the people, and it sucked, and it didn't make me want to do it again. But, like, after doing this Ren Fair, I'm like, you know what, fuck it, like, I will do it. I'm gonna I'm gonna save my money. I'm gonna get a Viking costume, like from the show Vikings, not not like a Halloween store costume.
Not like I'm gonna Google Viking costume.
Yeah, because I think that having that like little bit of historical accuracy, even if it's just from a television show, like I think that could be really fun. I want to get like a cool bearded axe and everything. Also because I love Vikings, and it just kind of works that way. And and then like I was talking to Tabby about it. I'm like, I kind of want to, because of my facial hair, I'm like, I kind of want to set up like a musketeer outfit, just for funsies, like have like the vest and the puffy shirt and the gloves and the rapier and the hat, the hat, and
the big fluffy feathered hat.
And I haven't felt this like inspired to do costumes and stuff like that since like. It's the first time I wanted to do a cosplay, and like before my hopes and dreams were horribly shattered from my horrible experience, and
that irritates me so fucking much.
Well,
man.
it was the early 10s, and it's not like it is today. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it like early 10s, like late aughts, like people were doing edge humor and shit like that. We had a different standard for how we treat certain people who are fat, like me. Like it's just a thing, and it sucks. But nowadays we harass the people who do the harassing, and that's the world we live in. But anyways, guys, the Ren Fair was an amazing experience. I highly recommend anyone, if you have one, if you find out that there's one nearby, and you think to yourself, well, it's just gonna be a bunch of nerds who do who like this kind of shit. Yeah, it is. But by God, the food is fucking amazing.
Like for the food alone.
Yeah, like that's the thing, because like Tabby was like, Mitchell, do you think we could ever make turkey legs like this at home? And I'm like, no. Like I was, because like the way that they like marinate it and grill it, like just the most tender. Like if I'm not okay, there's a certain quality.
At
of
least
turkey.
you're honest.
if there, yeah, I know my own limits, but like there's a certain quality of like a good turkey leg when it's so fucking good that your mind confuses it for ham for a second. When it's like that great,
oh my God,
like saltiness, like that, just like that pure good form. Oh, just fuck me up, man. And that's the thing. I would just go there to get specifically kielbasa, like sausages and stuff like that. I absolutely adore like a good, like, I don't know. The mac and cheese. I've never had like a fat guy moment on the podcast, but this is this is that moment. Oh my God. Well, that's the thing. It's very rare that I'll have food that I'll sit there and be like, I don't think I could make this. Like I don't think I can make this at home. I don't think I can replicate it. So like I'll just enjoy it in that moment. And like because that's the thing, a lot of foods that when I go out to eat or like something like that, I can like, as shitty as it sounds, I'll like have this moment of like, could I make this at home if I wanted to later? And most of the time, the answer is yes. Like if I go to a restaurant or I like, oh well, I make pizza sometimes. Like I can make this pizza, or like I'll sit there and I'll try to figure out what exactly went into it and all that stuff. And like this is one of those times where it's like, I can't make this. Like I can't make this like in a million years. I'm sure it's a lot easier than like I'm making it out to be. I don't want to find out. I want this to be a mystery of just like
I don't want to know.
I'd rather just enjoy like, oh, so good. Anyways, the Ren Fair was like super fun. I definitely am trying to set up my costume. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a costume for the Ren Fair next year, and then when I go to an anime convention again, because I know I will. I always will. It just hasn't been, it's just been a hot second. I think I'm just going to take whatever Ren Fair outfits I'll make and then just, like, go to an anime convention with them. Because then I'll, I'm not trying to be a specific character, I'm just trying to be, to have fun. And then, like, it's like I want to take my musketeer outfit, get a bunch of rings, light rings, not heavy rings. I cannot emphasize that enough because if I do this wrong, it's gonna be really fucked up. And do like maybe like a bard outfit, bring my guitar and stuff. Like, oh, You know, just be a generic bard. Just be a generic Viking. Be a generic, like, pirate king or whatever. It's not Luffy.
Yeah.
And I think I'll feel better about it. I mean, for fuck's sake, like, you know, the characters that I want to cosplay sometimes are, like, nowadays when I pick them out, clearly that experience has affected me because I'll pick characters like Blackbeard or characters, like, you know, that are kind of, like, ugly and big. And I'm like, oh, that's perfect for me! Like, you know, like, that's the thought process I have.
Ugh, I hate that.
Well, yeah. But anyways.
Ren wants to know what's the problem with heavy rings.
So when you have when you're trying to play guitar, if you have heavier rings set, like sometimes like it can just mess up like your so like a lot of times people who play guitar, they sometimes wear rings and stuff like that, and they'll have to practice with it because sometimes it could displace, like if you haven't been playing a lot, like Rockstar, who does it for a fucking living, it'll kind of like, I feel like sometimes the weight of it will throw like my muscle memory off, or it'll throw something off in my mind. Same thing with like when I use controllers to play video games sometimes. Like sometimes if a controller's weight is a little different than what I'm used to, which sounds weird, it'll throw me off just a little bit. But it happened all the time when Sora and I used to hang out. We would go to each other's houses and we would, like, you know, swap controllers and stuff like that. And there's probably some sort of defect, or like there was probably some sort of like difference in when we bought our controllers, because sometimes my controllers were a little lighter than whatever he would hand me. And that difference was enough to be like, something feels weird about this. Like it's throwing my muscle memory off. And like it would just like mess me up. But like, yeah, but you just have to take that second to like get used to it. Like the first couple rounds or the first couple songs with a guitar, like it's gonna be weird. So, but I would love to just, you know, do like a Final Fantasy like bard and kind of go like that. But anyways, let's kind of move on to the next topic at hand, because the run fair was super fun. I super highly recommend you go to try one out. Get mead, get all the mead.
Every mead.
We're gonna go ahead and talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh no! I'm still covering Yu-Gi! I didn't fix it! Anyways.
Aww.
Oh, damn it. No,
so I figured we'd talk about Duel Links, but I don't know what the fuck we're talking about now.
yeah, can't talk about
it. More Duel Links!
So, Duel Links is a really, really solid game, and we're gonna talk a little. I'm gonna go ahead and try to pull one more topic out of this because I do want to talk about something else that I did not put on the schedule, but I think me and you, if we talk about it, it could be really fun. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. This game is really solid. I cannot express enough how fun this game is. Even if you are a beginner, or if you've never heard of Yu-Gi-Oh, or if you're just looking to play a card game, I cannot emphasize enough how good this game is, only because you don't have to be an idiot like me who plays competitive PvP and stuff like that. You can just play like regular duelists to get the hang of it, collect cards, and if you ever feel like you're ready for that step, you can go ahead. But they have events going on. They have different characters you can play, different card styles, different everything. Like they revamped some of the older sets, so like Dark Magician just got a shit ton of support. Not that he didn't have enough support as it fucking was, but you know.
But you know, whatever, I guess.
Yeah. So Dark Magician has tons more support. They just released some of the Invoker cards, which is really crazy to me, but I'm really excited to see them. Because they're one of those sets that while I was kind of away from Yu-Gi-Oh, I would see them and I'm like, oh my god, that looks cool. They also added a shit ton of Gravekeepers, which are cards that are like, if you like Merrick or Egyptian like aesthetic, like that's kind of the fun set of cards for you. The whole gimmick of the Grave Robber setup is just like they are, or not Grave Robber, Gravekeeper, is that they're protectors of the Pharaoh's tomb. And it's cool. I don't know. I can't emphasize enough how awesome Yu-Gi-Oh is. Like it got to the point where like earlier this week I was like, I kind of want to do like an essay video on it, but it's so hard because I have such a shady, stupid fucking bias towards everything Yu-Gi-Oh related. Because I've been watching the show since I was a kid, But, like, I've tried playing Magic the Gathering. I've tried playing fucking Hearthstone. And, like, I love Hearthstone. And I love Magic the Gathering. But nothing ever gets me that satisfaction of playing, like, monsters and spells and traps than Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think a lot of it just boils down to this strange anticipation. In a card game like Hearthstone, there is, like, you play your monsters, you play your spells, everything's very upfront with each other, you know? You always know what the next, what you're dealing with next. For example, there's very hard strategies to overcome, but for the most part, in Hearthstone, you kind of get this idea of what you're dealing with. In Magic the Gathering, you're setting up systems and engines and other things that kind of coalesce into, you know, into like an ultimate strategy or ultimate goal. For me, it was dinosaurs. Dinosaurs came out really quick. They were fast hitting. They didn't have a lot of effects, but, you know, they were just raw power. You know, just like get it out there. And, you know, you like with Magic the Gathering, like a lot of people say, oh, it's the better game. I feel like it's a difference in play style. Magic is a little slower build. It unfortunately, like, for me at least, I played when I was younger. When I was 13, I played Magic the Gathering against, like, college kids, and I would have an idea of kind of how it would work. I was that lame kid that you'd probably see at the card shop. But, like, you know, it was my Magic deck wasn't ever perfect or great or grand. It was just, you know, it was a game I liked to play. And I really enjoyed it, but there's something about Yu-Gi-Oh! There's something about this game, and I cannot tell if it's nostalgia. I cannot tell if it's, you know, me having my horrible bias because I was just so involved with it years ago. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like this incredibly wonderful game to me because you can build decks that are, you know, that are just an archetype, like Dark Magician, and just have an entire archetype around that character. And when I was younger, I used to build decks based off of, like, you know, like I would think of a fictional character and I'd build kind of like, as fun, I would just build a deck around it and just be like, all right. So, like, what if Batman had a deck, or if, you know, like if there was an Attack on Titan themed deck, how would that work? You know, and like, and I was so into the game that's how fucking lame I was. And there's something about the game that just, to me, is so interesting and so different from everything. And I think a part of it has to do with, a part of it has to do with the fact that there's trap cards. I think trap cards really changed the game for me. I think the fact that there's like 4 categories of monsters that you can kind of, not monsters, but cards that you can traditionally play. Well, there's 5. There's a lot of cards. There's a lot of cards you can play. But, like, the idea is that it's very simple. Every turn you get to normal summon a card, right? You get 1 normal summon. And it doesn't cost mana, and it doesn't, you know, it's not like anything like that. It's just you get to play a level 4 or lower card. And then that card can have an effect, or it could be a normal monster, or it could be whatever. And I think just that idea of constant flow of motion, just that idea that there's constantly something happening in the game. Not saying that there isn't in Hearthstone, or not saying that there isn't in Magic. It's just, I think that the games, it's the difference between Street Fighter and BlazBlue. Street Fighter is a game in which, like, you know, it's, how do I word this? Street Fighter is a very solid, well-built core fighting game, right? And so you can have your opinions about 5. I think 5's okay. I think 4 was a lot better. And I'm not even a Street Fighter guy, you know? Street Fighter is one of those things that, like, as much as I love fighting games, Street Fighter isn't a fighting game I really got into. But you can easily tell what kind of piece of shit I am, because BlazBlue is one of my favorite games of all time. It's gotten so bad that I've wanted to play BlazBlue on the show as a retrospective, because arbitrarily one day I was like, I'm just going to buy all the BlazBlue games on Steam, because I love BlazBlue. And I think it's because BlazBlue is one of those games where it's like, everything's flashy, everything look, you know, like it's there's tons of systems, it's complex and yet simple. You know, every character is a gimmick, every character, you know, is unique. And I think that that's what I enjoy about it. In Yu-Gi-Oh, when you duel other people, yes, you will run into the same archetypes, you'll run into the same strategies sometimes, most of the time, especially in competitive. Like right now, I cannot tell you how many times I've run into fucking, there's a new fusion support cards for the Dark Magician, and so they like there's a card that came with it that's like, hey, go get a polymerization or a fusion support card from your deck and just take it, you know? And that card has become a real fucking problem because people are combining it with a Neos fusion structure pack. So you could buy a pretty solid deck, you know, for like maybe $40. If you buy 3 of each structure pack, you can just have like an incredibly solid deck, and you don't even have to, you know. But like, like, and it's this thing that like it's this thing in which like I'm sorry, I literally lost my train of thought because I was just
you're okay. I hear you struggling with the words and just going, oh god.
Well, okay, it's just one of those things in which like I think the pacing of it is what makes it so unique to me. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Pacing is a horrible issue in Yu-Gi-Oh! When I actually left Yu-Gi-Oh! For many years because of the pacing issue. Like, what was it? 6 years now? I left Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe it was 6 or 5 at this point, because at the time we had a lot of issues in terms of how decks were built to OTK, one turn kill, and it was a very problematic setup, and Konami knew this, and we as a community knew this, and it was very hard to play a game in which duelists on the meta level were looking to one turn kill people, and people are still looking to one turn kill people because, I don't know, they get off on it, maybe? I don't fucking know. Like, it doesn't feel good. I'm very much, when I play a good card game, to me, even if I lose, as long as the card game felt good, then I'm good. You know, like, as long as it felt even and fun, then that's what I look for in a good card game. And I cannot tell you how many times in Hearthstone or in Magic the Gathering, I've had games in which it never felt even. It felt 60-40 or 70-30. And both ways, you know? Okay. I'm not an expert at Magic the fucking Gathering. I played it when I was younger. I played Magic the Gathering Arena. And some games are great, and some games I get my shit kicked in. And even in those games, you see the same shit over and over again. You see the same, because of the color system, you see like the same kind of like looking like the same effect death touch monsters over and over again. You see the same 5/3 3-mana cards, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks. And there's these key cards that you kind of just keep seeing over and over and over and over and over again. And and it happens in Hearthstone too. You know, like even they try to solve the problem a little bit by like having like, you know, each archetype, like the 9 archetypes of like cards that you can play or the characters that you can play. But even then, like, you know what happens when you're fighting a hunter. And I am a hunter, you know? I am a hunter player. I play in the wild format nowadays, and that format is, one, super fun. I love wild format for Hearthstone. Because unlike standard format where you run into the same shit over and over again, I rarely run into some of the same strategies twice, and if I do, it's like because it's so broken, it's hilarious. It's because some of those cards in Hearthstone are just the worst, and there is a ban list, but it's not like one that happens often because of how patches work. But anyways, back to Yu-Gi-Oh! The thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! That I think that just works as a game and just works as probably my top card game is because of the pacing. It's because every turn it feels like something new. You see your opponent put 2 cards down, he could be faking you the fuck out. I do that all the time. Like, you know, like I'll put like a spell card down, and I'm like, it's like a fusion, it's like a polymerization or a ritual card, because I'm like, I need to have stage presence. I need to be able to be like, well, are you going to attack me? Like, I want, like, it's the mind game, you know? It's this fun, like, thing to do. And there's, like, so many different ways that you combine cards, and there's so many different, like, styles and and all sorts of things. And like there's some archetypes that and card setups that are designed for players who like have a better understanding and grasp of the game, and then there's some that are like a little bit more easy to work with. Like I know, for example, Elemental Heroes is a really good starter archetype for people. I know that like just archetypes in general kind of like an interesting concept in which like all cards kind of follow under a family of cards, and like in Magic you'd have a type family like pirates, dinosaurs. You'd have like they kind of fall like merfolk, right? And they have merfolk support and dinosaur support and pirate support. But in Yu-Gi-Oh you have like gravekeepers, you have like magician, like dark magician, and like that family and branch, and you have like different like elemental heroes support elemental heroes, and it's almost like picking a character in a fighting game, to kind of go back to that analogy, where it's like you kind of know like what you're getting when you pick this archetype and what you're kind of like what you would get. Now granted, you can add cards that are outside of the archetype, like Bacon Saver, which is a card I keep running into in the competitive scene when it comes to Elemental Hero Neos, because Neos has a new fusion that says, hey, all you need is Neos and like a level 4 or lower effect monster, and they just use Bacon Saver because when Bacon Saver hits the graveyard, and it's in the graveyard, you can just negate an attack once per duel, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like a free pass. Which is, it's a good defensive strategy, you know, and like, but that's the thing. You always kind of know what you're getting when you are dueling with someone who's using an archetype, like Vendread or any of these other archetypes I could have listed off. Like, you get the idea, and that's what kind of makes it fun, because it's like, oh, I think I get the strategy you're going to implement, and I think I get the key cards that you're going to put in. So now I can kind of like. It doesn't ever feel like there's any direct counters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Except there totally is. But like, for a very long time, Gravekeepers were a direct counter to a lot of strategies, and that was like considered the anti-meta like deck. Now, granted, I've been out of Yu-Gi-Oh! For a long time. I'm not gonna lie, I might have pendulum summoned like 3 or 4 times, but I didn't go beyond that. You know, I've never linked summoned before, but I get the gimmick and I understand where they're coming from. And Duel Links is a game in which it's almost like a homage and a fun celebration of what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, or was, and not what it currently is. But I will say this. For everything that, like, for every card that, like, that has broken the game or has caused problems that I've seen re-released into Duel Links, they are not nearly as bad as they were before. Something that I really appreciate about Duel Links is that they know what cards to put in and what cards to keep out. And like, they even have a ban list in Duel Links. They try, from my understanding, they try not to ban a lot of cards. They try to limit cards just because the whole point is to be a celebration. I saw Pot of Greed the other day. And I'm like, what the fuck? Pot of fucking Greed? A card that's been banned forever? But like,
I in theory understand why the fuck it's banned. It's still dumb.
Oh yeah.
It draw 2 cards. It's broken. Get rid of it. I understand how people can abuse it. But god damn it.
Well, Graceful Charity was a better version of it. Draw 3 cards, discard 2. Right?
Yeah.
But then they created archetypes all around discarding cards, and then, like, they had to ban it. Like, but that's the thing. I ran into
it bugs me. It's in the same realm of like Monster Reborn, and I get it. I mean, of just like, in theory this should be okay, but someone's an asshole.
Well, that's the thing. At the end of the day, all those cards, in theory, should have been okay. Whenever Yugi used Monster Reborn in his goddamn game, did he ever go into the opponent's graveyard? No. But the card listing doesn't specifically say yours. The card listing says pick a card from either graveyard, and you can special summon that monster. Most of the time, Yugi used it to...
I know you just said that. Didn't someone else do that in the show, though?
What, Monster Reborn from the opponent's grave?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying Yugi would normally use it to bring back his key card like Dark Magician. But people would special summon monsters from the opponent's side all the time. And without going into how much fucking salt that is back in the day when it was limited, because holy shit, this is what would happen. I would summon a card. Let's say, because of the format at the time, let's say that, I special summon Blue Eyes or something like that. On my first turn, and I did all my steps right. I special summoned Blue Eyes White Dragon. The next turn, the opponent would then cast the spell Dark Hole, which destroys all monsters on the field. They would then destroy all my spells and traps through many ways, and then they would cast Monster Reborn to resummon my Blue Eyes onto their side of the field, and then special summon a monster of their own to almost OTK me. The game was broken as fuck, and it had nothing to do with the fact that the cards themselves, do not get me wrong, Monster Reborn had its problems, and they did try. They did a really fun homage to it in a Synchro Monster, in which if you Synchro summon it, it only has 2,600 defense. Well, I say only, but it's a good defense monster. But the idea is that when it's destroyed, you get to special summon from either side of the grave. But they make you go through the steps. A big thing with Yu-Gi-Oh became give and take. You don't just get something by playing a card like Jar of Greed or Pot of Greed. Jar of Greed is a whole nother card. Pot of Greed, where you just play the card and you draw 2 cards. Now everything has a cost to it, and those costs are what balance and even the game out. Pay half your life points. Pay 800 life points. Get this card. Jar of Greed's cost is the fact that you can't activate it on your first turn. You have to let it sit there on the field and have the potential of being destroyed. These are things that ended up balancing the game later on. And right now, the game is quote-unquote balanced because they essentially made it so that only one monster from the extra deck can come out at a time. Unless you Link summon, which is a whole nother thing. Link summoning is more of an archetypal Xyz summon, in which, instead of picking 2 monsters from the same level, you pick 2 monsters that are required from that card. For Hires have one. I think Elemental Heroes might have one right now. But the point is that there's I've been rambling about this for too long. I can feel it. I can feel
At least finish your thought, for the love of God.
The game is balanced better now, I would feel, and I know what you're saying. I know what everyone's saying. Mitchell, you haven't really played Link summoning and all that format yet. You don't know. But come on, guys. Extra deck summoning was getting really out of fucking hand. The fact that, let me put it this way. I had a deck that is no longer valid now. That was just a Yusei Fudo deck from 5Ds, right? It had Stardust Dragon, it had Shield Garuda, it had all the big boys, right? Not Shield Garuda, but it had all the cards that you'd expect. Now, I could synchro summon, hypothetically, a 4,000 attack monster in, 1 turn. Because I was able to synchro summon bunches of cards together and then create that card. Now, granted, that $123 card that I bought, which is now $3 now, because they re-released him and much cheaper and much more volume. As much as I love that card, I have to admit there were problems with the format. And so I think that in a weird way, when I hear that there's a new limit to how many extra deck monsters you can summon, and more importantly that the whole reason that they did this was to hopefully try to get new players in, because let's face it, this game was made for kids, and kids are having a hard time getting into it when all of us blast them away,
beat up on them all the goddamn time.
So when I hear about this stuff, and I hear that, these are the changes, and I remember the first time I heard this, I was like, fuck, why would you do that? But, it's been years now. I've sat and I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? That makes sense. The game was broken. The game was stupidly broken. And we need to go into a format in which, kind of works. And which is, the funny thing is the whole reason we were supposed to talk about Duel Links was because they just released the new Dark Side Dimensions fucking world, and I didn't even talk about that because I was too busy talking about card games, ironically.
You get so invested in it sometimes, dude.
Yeah, it's real. Okay, but the point is that there's a new Dark Side Dimensions world. I'm going to actually remove myself from the image for a second. And you'll see that they re-released Kaiba. If you go into Duel Links right now, there's a little event that you can play, and you can... it unlocks the world. And...
yeah.
The nice thing about it is they kind of revamped Kaiba and Yugi in the same way that the movie did. And don't get me wrong, original Kaiba and Yugi, I always see them in competitive, but like this is kind of a fun new thing to do. And it's just, I don't know, it's a really nice kind of time. You can get tons of gems doing this. You can get tons of gems just by like playing in that world and leveling up and stuff like that. And if you sign up now, because actually, yeah, it should still be available. You will get 1,000 gems just from logging in, because they're trying to celebrate the new box. And if you get 1,000 gems, you can get 20 card packs. Yeah, something like that.
Oh, cool.
You get 20 card packs. Of any card pack type that you want. So I highly recommend getting, if you can, a structure pack. Just like if you're super new to the game, get like a structure pack that you think kind of looks cool, and then kind of go from there. And then they have great tools and great things to help you learn the game. There's like a tutorial little section that teaches you stuff. And I will say this: Yu-Gi-Oh can be horribly complicated sometimes. Some of the card archetypes takes you a second. You have to get a good understanding of the basics before you can move on to the more advanced stuff. And only, like, I ran to cards yesterday, and even on that stream, that I never saw before. I had no idea what the fuck they were, and they kicked my fucking ass. But part of the fun is trying to figure out what the fuck happened, and then come back and figure out how to counter it. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching another episode of Mitch's Minute. We'll catch you guys next time, next Sunday. Later.